Wizards of the Coast backpedaling hard on their OGL. Female streamer has her grandparents swatted. A bomb threat against Sayu? The debate on male VTubers versus female VTubers just seems to never end? Well, if you want to hear about those stories and more, you're gonna enjoy this video. There's gonna be timestamps in the description and in the scroll bar if you want to skip to the story that you personally care about. Now let's get into the news. I'm excited. So on D&D Beyond, Wizards of the Coast released an update about how they're going to be treating the open game license in the near future. I'll skip right to the highlights. Basically, they're backpedaling on everything that fans were concerned about. They're not going to be releasing any changes that impact video content, accessories, non-published works, virtual tabletops, DM's Guild, OGL 1A. They're also completely backpedaling on the royalties that you receive based off of D&D works, and they reiterate that you will continue to own your content with a no license back requirement. The only thing that I do want to correct that's in here is that in this article here, they say that you'll be able to fill out a quick survey. However, it has been stated that Wizards of the Coast doesn't read your surveys, so it's not really gonna matter. The same creator later clarifying that they do read surveys for Unearthed Arcana content, but just the fact that the survey that they are conducting right here isn't going to matter. They are not going to listen to any of your opinions about the open gaming license. As I mentioned in one of my own personal tweets, when it specified that they're going to care about your input when it comes to Unearthed Arcana, but not about the OGL, it kind of makes sense because the Unearthed Arcana is actual content. The OGL, they very clearly don't care about the fans' opinion and are only backpedaling because of the backlash and, more importantly, the loss of D&D Beyond subscriptions. But even though they're backpedaling hard on all of the major points, it seems like none of this backpedaling is really going to matter because gamers and game makers are staging a mass exodus from Dungeons & Dragons and creating their own open license. The next story that I wanted to cover is apparently a streamer called Suppy Caitlin revealed that her grandparents were raided by police because a swatter thought that her grandparents' house was her house. Now, thankfully, her grandparents are totally fine, but they're old and they don't speak the best English, so they were very scared and very confused. The internet is a very scary place, and I agree. The fact that swatting just seems to never end is genuinely stressful. Swatting a creator is bad enough. I feel like that's objectively true. Nobody wants to see content creators swatted because it's such a stupid and scummy thing to do. But the fact that this is spilling over and getting people's grandparents swatted, that just feels doubly scummy. The grandparents or extended family of any kind have nothing to do with the swatting. They have nothing to do with the streamer. They just happen to be related to them. So the fact that their life could be interrupted or even endangered because some troll on the internet hated a content creator is insane. I despise hearing stories about this. There's absolutely nothing justifiable about swatting, period. All it does is hurt people. Speaking of people on the internet being total pieces of apparently Sayu ran into an issue with some terminally online idiot sending them actual death threats, specifically a bomb threat. To be specific, he said, "Bro, literally someone on TikTok was complaining on how I comment on every Sainari post, and if I don't stop, they were going to bomb me like a true Arab." And then they proceed to tag me. Guys, I just like to comment on random stuff people tag me in. It's not that big of a deal. Also, they said, "I'm sick of half the Genshin cast being gay." And I'm like, dog, I'm not. But even if I was, who cares, you homophobe? I reported the video for threatening, but you know, TikTok be TikTok and nothing is wrong. And to be specific, this wasn't just a comment, it was a whole ass video. Now, look, toxic on the internet are gonna be toxic on the internet, but at no point does that allow or justify people sending bomb threats and being homophobic. I don't care if it's just a joke, bro, or whatever. It's scumbag behavior and it shouldn't be tolerated, and I hope TikTok takes down the video and revokes that person's account. This shouldn't be allowed. Aside from the homophobia, which isn't surprising, this is the internet, can we all just comment about how weird it is that someone is so mad that someone else is leaving comments on someone else's video? Like, Bro, that literally doesn't impact you at all. How terminally online do you have to be where not only does video content upset you, but the comments on the video content upset you? Bro, no one is holding a gun to your head and forcing you to read YouTube comments. If you're so upset about seeing somebody leaving comments, then just don't read comments. This is the internet. You can leave at any time. This is so genuinely frustrating. I hate the internet sometimes. The next thing that I want to talk about is a hot take from Kiari. Now, we've heard this discussion 1,000 times, but it's interesting to me that this discussion never seems to die. And because this discussion never seems to die, even though I've covered it before, it'll be interesting to cover it again and see if opinions have changed. Now, her particular hot take is saying that it's kind of silly when people say that male VTubers are oppressed or looked down upon, but in reality, some of the most successful VTubers are male, and they're not throwing a pity party for themselves. It's time to stop looking at gender and start looking at your own content. Now, I think that take does have some degree of truth to it. Like, if you take a look at Axel, Regis, Magni, Vesper, like all these guys have well over 100,000, if not 200,000 subscribers. You've got Niji-sanji talents like Vox Akuma absolutely crushing it with 1.25 million subscribers. Mr. Rias, 1 million subscribers. Shuyamino, 800,000. Luca Kaneshiro, 900,000. Ike Eveland, 800,000. There's obviously a market for male VTubers. It's obviously possible to build an audience for yourself as a male VTuber. So in that aspect, I do agree with the take that I don't think there's a persecution or an oppression of male VTubers. There's obviously still a market for it. I mean, look at the market for it. Look at these numbers. These are ridiculous numbers. But that's only my opinion. Let's take a look at some other choice quote retweets. Kyo chiming in saying, I don't really think there's a gender debate as much as it is people who do complain don't do much of anything and shouldn't be taken seriously in the first place. Certain content favors females over males and vice versa. Maybe that's the conversation we should be having. And that I would mostly agree with, just in the fact that when you're a female VTuber, you can play into being cute, you can play into being sexy. Like, there's definitely a very large, very aggressive, very hungry market for cute and sexy anime girls that a lot of male VTubers just aren't going to capture as easily because they're dudes, and the market for that is straight dudes. So the fact that you don't necessarily have quite as easy of a time, you don't have the same advantage, that doesn't mean that you're being oppressed. It just means you have to make different content and try to stand out. I mean, hell, look at me. I didn't make it as a gaming streamer, so I switched to VTuber news and I put all my effort into that. And it is working out pretty okay, and I'm slowly growing. I was doing something, it wasn't working, so I changed what I was doing, and now it is working. Am I skyrocketing to the top like Niji-sanji and Hololive talents? Of course not, but I'm also not a corpo VTuber. If what you're doing isn't working, you have it within your power to make changes to your content to make yourself more accessible, more discoverable, and more successful. Now, not everybody agrees with my take, and that's okay. This person here saying, another lovely case of male VTubers being used to farm engagement. The simple fact that metrics and statistics simply do not support what was said here basically implies that she's saying the vast majority of male VTubers simply suck and have shit content. Indie content creators in general that are super small oftentimes are small for a reason. You're not particularly interesting, you're not really standing out, you're not particularly good at marketing yourselves, and that's not an insult towards you. That's just acknowledgement that being successful is fucking hard. Most people who try to succeed at being an online personality fail. Why? Because it's hard. It takes genuine talent and charisma and hard work to succeed, and 99% of people aren't gonna. You have to keep in mind that when you're making content, you're competing against so many people. And if it's not spectacular, it's probably not going to succeed. And even if it is spectacular content, if you don't know how to market yourself, you are gonna fail. A lot of indies are hidden gems, and a lot of indies aren't. And look, again, I'm not saying that because I want to shit all over indies. I'm an indie myself. What I'm saying is, Everybody sucks when they first start out, and it takes time and effort to get better. And if you're not willing to put in that time and effort, and all you want to do is complain, then no, I don't think you deserve to succeed. All of my early videos, I would say every video I released in the first year, which was well over 365 videos, I would argue almost all of them total trash. It took me literally a year to start making decent content that people actually gave a shit about. If you're not willing to invest a year in your life into improving and improving and improving every day, every week, whatever your time frame is, then no, you do suck and you don't deserve to succeed. And the last comment that I wanted to reply to was saying, well, I do think it's silly to say anyone's getting looked down upon. There is definitely a disparity between male and female YouTubers and their corresponding audiences. And yeah, that is absolutely true. But telling people just to work on their content doesn't help anyone. It's like telling a poor person to just work harder and they'll stop being poor. Look, here's the thing. The simple fact is that complaining about low numbers doesn't boost your numbers. The only tool you have at your disposal is the amount of work you put in. Whining about society does not change society, period. Alright, since that was a little bit of an intense conversation, I wanted to leave the video off on a more positive note. And that note being that Amelia Watson has released a new music video. The animation looks fantastic, the music is great. I'm not going to play any of it here because it's probably copyrighted, but I do encourage everyone to go check out Amelia Watson's new song. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Bye guys!